Cut your 2-inch drain pipe flush to the subfloor. Cut your shower pan to fit the desired area, leaving an 1/8-inch gap around the perimeter. Cut a new notch in the pan to replicate the factory notch on any cut edges. Dry fit your shower pan and any extensions to ensure the subfloor opening and drain pipe are centered inside the drain opening. Ensure all sides of the shower pan fit comfortably to the walls. Never force the shower pan to fit as you risk damaging the pan. The drain pipe must be centered through a 5-inch round opening in the subfloor and should be securely fastened below the subfloor before installing the pan. Cut the 2-inch ABS or PVC drain pipe flush with the subfloor. Clean off any burrs on the 2-inch pipe after cutting. Now apply a continuous 1/4-inch bead of HYDRO-BLOK joint sealant around the top edge of the second notch inside the brass drain profile, ensuring that the bead is not broken. Remove the drain nut and both gaskets from the outside of the drain, as well as the solid brass caulking nut and rubber gasket from the inside of the drain body. Now press the solid brass drain body into the joint sealant and seal it firmly into the second notch in the black shower pan drain base. On the underside of the drain, slide the black rubber gasket and then the white fiber gasket over the drain body threads. We recommend holding the drain body from the top of the shower pan to ensure it remains seated. Now thread the solid brass locking nut onto the drain body. Hand tighten the locking nut until the gaskets are snug against the stainless steel support ring on the underside of the shower pan. Time to check the positioning of the drain body to ensure it's in the proper position and wipe away any excess sealant from the top of the solid brass drain body using citrus wipes or paper towel. Apply modified thin set with a minimum 3/8 by 3/8 notch trowel, starting at the back of the shower area troweling towards the front. Ensure the trowel lines are pointing to the front or curb of your shower pan. This will ensure there will be no air voids in the installation. Do not cross-channel trowel lines, or air cannot escape. Lower the shower pan into place and ensure it's level and in the proper position on the subfloor before pressing it into place by walking on the surface. Now remove all excess thin set from the front of the shower pan. Slide the rubber caulking gasket bevel side up over the 2-inch drain pipe until it's flush with the top of your drain pipe. Soapy water may be used to help ease the rubber gasket onto the pipe. Now thread the solid brass caulking nut into the drain body to compress the rubber gasket onto the 2-inch drain pipe until it's hand tight. Use the flat tightening key with a flat blade screwdriver to further tighten the caulking nut. A small strip of duct tape can be used to hold the key on the end of the screwdriver. Dry fit the drain tray strainer to ensure they are level and can be positioned properly. Do not glue the drain tray into the opening. If the drain cover needs to be raised to accommodate thicker tile or stone, use the supplied plastic drain riser to adjust the height of the drain cover. Cut to required height as needed. Plan and measure your cuts for installing wallboard on one side of the shower. We recommend starting with the back of the shower area. Cut the HYDRO-BLOK wallboard to size with a utility knife or power saw and a straight edge. Remember to dry fit all wallboard pieces to ensure a proper fit before installing. Apply a 1/2-inch continuous bead of joint sealant in the shower pan notch. Press the wallboard firmly into the shower pan notch. We recommend using a level to ensure the wall board is level and fully seated in the shower pan notch. Now you can fasten the wall board to the studs using HYDRO-BLOK screws and washers. Place the first washer 12 inches up from the bottom of the shower pan. Continue placing washers and screws every 12 inches along each stud. Install the screws so that the washer is flush or just below the surface of the wall board. Then apply a continuous half-inch bead of joint sealant into the corner seam of the shower pan where it meets the wall board. Use the corner putty knife to smooth out the sealant so that there's at least 1 inch of sealant on either side of the seams. Cut a length of 2-inch mesh tape 2 inches shorter than the seam length. Then press the mesh into the joint sealant along the seam starting at the center. Apply a continuous half-inch bead of joint sealant on top of the mesh tape and smooth out again with the corner putty knife to fully cover the mesh tape. Apply a half-inch continuous bead of joint sealant along the foam edge of any horizontal board seams. Install the new sheet of wallboard by angling it into the bead of joint sealant and pressing downwards firmly. Continue to secure the wallboard with screws and washers along all studs. To install wallboard adjacent to previously installed wallboard, apply a half-inch continuous bead of joint sealant down the side of the existing wallboard and into the shower pan notch. Angle the new sheet of wallboard into place so it seats firmly into the bead of joint sealant on edge of the existing wallboard. Then position the wallboard firmly into the notch of the shower pan. Then secure each sheet of wallboard with HYDRO-BLOK screws and washers as you go. Apply a half-inch continuous bead of joint sealant along all seams and smooth out with the flat or corner putty knives. Remember to apply mesh tape along any seam between the shower pan and wallboard. Openings in the wallboard for niches and other custom features can be cut with a utility knife. Apply a half-inch continuous bead of joint sealant down the edge of the existing wallboard and into the shower pan notch. Press the new wallboard firmly into the shower notch and against the existing wallboard in the corner. Now secure the wallboard with HYDRO-BLOK screws and washers. Once again, apply a half-inch continuous bead of joint sealant along all wallboard seams and smooth out with the corner putty knife. Cut a length of the mesh tape 2 inches shorter than each seam between the shower pan and wallboard. Apply the mesh tape along all seams, starting from the center, pressing the mesh tape into the sealant. Cover with a half-inch continuous bead of joint sealant and smooth out with the corner putty knife. Now fully cover all screws and washers with a joint sealant and smooth out with the flat putty knife. Unpack your HYDRO-BLOK shower niche and decide where it will be placed in your shower. Mark the locations of the studs. All HYDRO-BLOK niches must be installed so that they're supported by a stud on each vertical side. Use a level to ensure the niche is properly positioned, and then outline or trace the edges of the niche onto the wallboard with a marker. Using a utility knife, cut the horizontal lines first, using those cuts to ensure that the vertical cuts will be located in the middle of a wall stud on each side. Now, dry fit the niche in the opening and ensure it's properly supported. Apply a half-inch bead of joint sealant on all 4 inner edges of the opening. Place the niche into the opening, seating it into the lower bead of joint sealant first. Install washers and screws at the corners and along the vertical seams every 12 inches. Washers should be centered on the seams. Apply a final half-inch bead of joint sealant on all 4 seams and smooth out with the straight putty knife, ensuring that all washers are covered. Ensure there's at least 1 inch of joint sealant on either side of all seams. Shelves can be secured into the niche with a generous bead of joint sealant on all foam sides. Now fit the shelf into place and ensure it's correctly positioned. Shelves should be slightly sloped forward to allow water to run off into the shower. Carefully measure the opening for your shower curb. Cut the curb so that it's 1/8 inch shorter than the distance between the 2 walls. HYDRO-BLOK shower curbs may be cut with an appropriate handsaw or similar tool. Dry fit the shower curb in place before installing. Trowel thin set out from the shower pan edge to the edge of the curb location. Trowel away from the pan in one direction. Now apply thin set on the underside of the shower curb with the smoothest edge of the trowel. Apply a half-inch continuous bead of joint sealant along the shower pan notch as well as the exposed foam edge of the shower pan. Apply a generous amount of joint sealant to the wallboard where the ends of the shower curb will be located and to each end of the shower curb. Position the shower curb, ensuring the curb is firmly pressed into place against the shower pan notch and the thin set on the subfloor. Place the curb from the top down at a slight angle to avoid the thin set from contacting or mixing with the joint sealant. Now remove any excess thin set and use a level and square to check the proper placement of the curb, ensuring there is a slight angle into the shower. Apply a continuous half-inch bead of joint sealant into the seams where the shower meets the curb or wallboard. Smooth out the joint sealant with the putty knives. Apply the 2-inch mesh tape included with the shower pan along the joint between the shower pan and curb and to the top of the curb where it meets the wallboard. Cover the mesh tape with an additional continuous bead of joint sealant and smooth out with the putty knives. Double check all seams are properly covered with joint sealant. You can immediately fill your shower pan with water for testing. After approximately 1 hour at room temperature of at least 18 degrees Celsius or 65 degrees Fahrenheit, the HYDRO-BLOK joint sealant will skin over, and thin set and tile can safely be applied.